Hey guys, I'm really excited to bring you another interview today. I'm here with Nicky. She's over in Exeter in Devon in the UK. And Nicky has been living with long COVID and she's been watching a lot of the recovery stories here on this channel. And she said that slowly, like bit by bit, she's picking up pieces from here, pieces from there, and things slowly started to click. And she started to really make massive progress on her recovery. And one of the things I think that you guys watching will appreciate about this one, because Nicky, I know you were hesitant to do this interview yet, because you thought you were fully there and you're like, no, I'm not quite fully there yet. But so many people comment how much they appreciate hearing from people who are still on their journey, because it's very relatable and you have made a lot of progress and you have had a lot of insights. So there's a lot to offer here. So I just think for people watching, if you're currently facing long COVID or similar conditions, this will be very relatable for you. So Nicky, thank you so much for doing this today.
Thank you.
So I know your health journey goes a way back. I'm not sure where you want to start with this, but I'll leave that to you to kind of take us back.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I suppose it does actually, because I haven't had a chronic illness before. I've had IBS all my life, and I think must be about 15, 16 years ago, I ended up with Campylobacter, so quite bad food poisoning. And whilst I was on holiday and ended up having to go to a hospital while I was away, come home, and then I never really recovered from it. My digestive system was really completely ruined by that point. Back and forth to the doctors. Maybe it was about 4 or 5 years after that, I ended up losing a lot of weight and having problems with fatigue, and then ended up in hospital for a short stay with problems with my liver. And then that seemed to sort of, with a short stay, resolve itself. I went on to try homeopathy, which a friend recommended, and that really did help improve things. And then I'd say about 3 or 4 years after that, I caught COVID. After feeling better, I caught COVID, and then that's about 18 months ago now, and never really sort of recovered from it until January this year, and I started to feel a lot better. And then I reintroduced too much at once, and I ended up having a relapse for several weeks, but now I'm on the up again. So maybe the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been feeling pretty good. Some days I don't have any symptoms at all. I've got more energy. So yeah, I'd say I'm 70, 80% recovered at the moment, but I just intend to take things really slowly, in the sense of not rush into it too much, just in increments. I'm starting to add a little bit more in here and there. After listening to Eric's story with the 3 stages, it really resonated with me, and I think I was definitely at stage 3, and I knocked myself back to stage 2, even possibly 1, because I really did feel quite rotten. But it's possible to sort of jump back on again and start to get myself better again, and feeling pretty good actually at the moment. Very positive about everything. So yeah, that's how things are at the moment. Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
It's so hard, isn't it? It's same thing with chronic fatigue syndrome. Anyone who's going through anything like this. I remember interviewing one person ages ago, and she just talking about how much she's because you would talk about the concept of pacing and managing your energy, and she's like, I hate pacing. When you start to feel well, you just want to do stuff.
I know, it's really difficult.
I used to say it's superhuman self-control to start to feel good and then be okay, I'm just going to do a little bit. It feels almost unfair. No, I feel good. I want to do all the things I've been wanting to do. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think I kind of just went totally over the top.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to think about a bit more about what I'm doing. I've just actually done a little bit of exercise this week and met up with some friends that I socialise with and used to regularly, and that was just lovely. I went to the climbing wall because I'm really into my climbing, and I thought, right, I'm just going to go for an hour, and that's all I went for, and just did very gentle exercise. I did feel a bit tired afterwards, but I mean, that was on Tuesday, and I'm feeling good again at the moment now, so just taking it easy since then.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What did it look like for you when you first got COVID and then weren't getting better?
When I first got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what was that like to just think that you're probably, like, I assume you'd think, okay, within a week or 2 weeks, I'm going to get better. And then you weren't. So what was that like?
Well, yeah, it was quite strange actually, because I got COVID, then I never really felt better, but I tried to get back to work, but I was only able to work part-time. And then I went on for about a month like that, and I just gradually got worse and worse. And then it got to a point where I had to phone my husband to come and pick me up because I couldn't drive my car home because I was working away. He had to get a taxi and come and drive me home. And then for about 3 or 4 months after that, I was just bedbound. Just that day, it was just too much. And I remember I was in the car and I thought, I can't walk to get into the house. It was just horrific. And he had to help me up the stairs, and I had like blinding headaches, problems with couldn't stand any stimulation. So I spent probably like 3 or 4 months either sat in bed, or when I could, I'd sit on the sofa just staring out the window, and I had to wear sunglasses because of the light. So yeah, it was like a bit soul destroying really. It was really tough. Those first sort of 3 or 4 months, yeah.
That sounds terrifying.
It was quite scary because I was like sort of running half marathons and climbing twice a week, very active, very busy job, usual story. And then what did help me actually was somebody kept telling me about, try antihistamines. And I tried them. And then within about 2 or 3 weeks, I was able to return to work part-time. And then what I would do was work for a couple of hours. I could work from home, and then I would go to sleep and then get up and do a bit more work, and just sort of carried on like that for a few months and gradually got better and better with, these kind of moments.
I imagine there are a few things that have led to or contributed to your recovery, but people always tell me they find it interesting also to hear what didn't work. So were there some things that you tried that you really just didn't show you much results?
Extreme. Well, I suppose like I do like pacing, but I can't stand anything really structured. It just really stresses me out. So if I did do a course with the Nuffield Health Group, which were great in the UK for 3 months, and they gave me an idea of pacing, but it was very structured, and I was able to work out my own way of doing it. So if it was really structured in the fact of writing everything down, that would just stress me out and actually would bring on a crash then, because I used to get so uptight about it. But the other side to that, my pacing now, is just making sure that 2 or 3 points in the day that I sit and relax. I'm actually doing yoga nidra at the moment, and I find that really helpful. I signed up with Sam, who was on here, with the Soma meditation. And so I've been meditating twice a day now for about a month. And, I'm just feeling better and better every day at the moment. So, fingers crossed that just carry on like this.
Yeah, I'm hearing more and more about the pacing. I think the concept is helpful, but so many people are saying that, we try and be really strict with it and it becomes a stressful thing. And also what people are saying, like you're saying, is that it wasn't necessarily one program or approach. It was just once they understood and adopted the overall concept of just getting out of that push crash cycle of, doing too much and then paying for it, and just figuring out your own gentle way of taking breaks. Yeah.
I did try the low histamine diet as well, because I found that the antihistamines helped me. But that was the same situation for me again, because it was so structured, and because I've had problems with my digestion in the past, and it took quite a long time to find a diet that suited me. And then I was getting so worked up about what I could eat, what I couldn't eat. And I thought it just wasn't worth it really with that. I did try the bone broth as well to try and help with the gut, but it was too much like hard work trying to get everything organized on top of everything else that was going on. So yeah, that's 2 other things that didn't work for me. I did go for oxygen therapy for about 6 months, and that was probably the most helpful thing I did. And that really did kickstart for me my recovery. But I don't do that now, and I don't take the antihistamines anymore, and I'm still feeling really good without those things in my life, because I felt I wanted to move away from that and move forward to another stage. So yeah, but that, I think for me, they helped me definitely to get to where I am.
I don't know much about oxygen therapy, and I haven't had many people talk to me about it on the channel. Could you explain a bit what it is and what it's supposed to do?
Well, it is used for ME, and there is a local charity here, and I was able to get sessions, and there's apparently quite a lot of long COVID sufferers within this area that are using it at the moment. So they initially have to go in and have I think 4 or 5 times a week for hourly sessions, and then they reduce the pressure. Then because you're with an oxygen mask in a chamber, pressurized chamber. So then after that, it was weekly treatments for an hour. And yeah, they were, I mean, I was able to get back again to like a little bit of exercise. But the trouble I think with that for me is I found that because I had all this extra energy, I would take it that bit too far again. But it definitely helped with the mental aspect of it as well, because I did suffer quite badly with depression at times, actually. So it really did help with that, and also with the sleep, because I had a bit of insomnia. Yeah, and then for some reason they had to cancel one day, and I thought, oh, I'm going to try it without, and I did. And a month on, I didn't feel any different, so I just stopped doing it.
So it sounds like anything that caused you stress made you worse, which seems like a good thing to keep in mind with recovery. No matter how many people say it's working for them, if it's bringing in significant stress into your life, it's probably not going to help you out very much.
No.
And then things like the antihistamines you said, and the oxygen therapy. Was there anything else that helped you to slowly recover?
At the beginning, I did, because I used to watch, is it Gez Medinger? And I don't know if I pronounced his name properly. I know that one of the guys on him mentioned him recently. He's a scientific journalist, and he wrote the book, The Long COVID Handbook, and he had some really interesting people on there. And I did take B2 riboflavin to start with, and that really helped with the migraines. So that's something else that was really helpful. And I think that's it, actually. That's all the things like cold showers and breathing. But I can't see that they've really made any difference for me. The main thing I would say that I'd take for it was oxygen therapy. Definitely, it was a game changer for me. It really was.
Oh, and it sounds like the meditation too. I know that's earlier on has been very helpful as well.
Yeah, and that's the last month. Yeah, it's been really good actually. Just feel so much calmer. It's something that was really interesting actually when I was first sick, and I had those sort of really terrible 3 or 4 months. As I started to get better, I noticed that, like, I don't know, like, this might sound a bit bizarre, but certain sort of behaviour patterns in the way that I was doing things, and that they started to come back again. And I thought, oh, actually, when I was really ill like that, I couldn't think about anything, and I was like so relaxed, just staring out the window. And now I'm getting back to life again, and I'm doing things in the way that I just don't want to do them anymore. It's just not healthy. And I don't know, I just had like a real realization about that after being ill, getting better, and then thinking, actually, I don't want to go back to this way of thinking, actually, this behaviour. It's just not healthy. And I think perhaps that's like, it's some form of stress and anxiety. I'd say I'm definitely a perfectionist, so I think that's got something to do with bringing that on as well. So yeah, that's what I intend to change with moving forward, actually. I've really taken a long, hard look at that. And even like things that I'm doing every day, if I start doing it in a certain way, no, I don't want to do it like that. I want to do it in a more relaxed and enjoyable manner.
And that is the bigger picture of this, isn't it? Because, we talk about, if there are specific therapies that are stressing you out, they're probably not good for you. But the bigger picture, I think, is that so many of us are that overachiever type A type person. And it's about changing your personality, really. It's about changing how you approach things and not being a perfectionist towards everything that you do. Because we people like us can turn almost anything into something toxic, really. We turn it into this stressful thing, rigid thing, have to get everything perfect. Yeah. And we hear about this, they call it post-traumatic growth, and it is such a beautiful silver lining of these hellish, horrible experiences, that at least we typically come out of it with a better sense of, how to treat ourselves and to be more compassionate with ourselves and have a more balanced life, hopefully, and have a happier life moving forward. I don't know if you find this, though, because it's still something that I struggle with, because yes, it's one thing to know that in theory, because I came out with that for sure, but all of those old patterns and those habits are so ingrained. So it's still, for me, I've been recovered for probably 4 years, and I'm still learning how to change my personality from that. So what has it been like for you?
Well, first of all, can I just say that's really interesting, really helpful to think that 4 years on that you still, in that, because then I won't be so harsh on myself then about at what point and where I am with stuff. For me, it's looked like even like getting ready in the morning to go to work, because it would start escalating, rushing around, getting stressed, being late for something and not being organised. And I'm not saying that I'm particularly any more organised, but I'm not like beating myself up about it when I'm not. And if I start rushing around and feel this level of anxiety or this extreme, to just to think about it and just to calm it down for a minute. And when I'm doing something, to actually like enjoy it and not look at it as a bad thing, that, I'm a bit late or I forgot something, I've got to go back and get out of the car and come into the house. And I think, well, if that's what I've got to do, that's what I've got to do. It's not really a big deal if I'm 2 or 3 minutes late, it's not worth ruining my whole day over it and not feeling great,
Yeah, I read about a strategy recently. Basically, it says just to dial down the importance of things. And it sounds too simple, but just to be like, how important is this really? We look in the big picture, what's the worst that could happen and how bad is that really? Because I think, I realize that I spend so much of my life, so much of what I do is driven by fear. And that's what I hear from so many people that I interview over and over again. Like even today, getting ready for our interview, thankfully, I've gotten quite a bit better. But for the longest time, when it get down to about, T minus 15 minutes, when, recording's going to go live, and it was just an automatic trigger. And I would be just, like you were saying, getting ready in the morning, I would just go into pure fear. You'd think I was about to be attacked by bears in 15 minutes. The way I was like, oh my goodness, is everything clean? Is the dog put away? Am I going to be on time? Is the equipment working? And also even just doing the interviews for a long time for me was motivated by fear. Like it was like, this has to go well. What if I say something to offend people? What if my whole channel is a big fit, and I could enjoy parts of it, but it's been such a learning experience. And I'm glad it didn't scare you to say that 4 years later, I'm still there. But yeah, I think it's just
not at all, actually. Not at all. It just it gives you the idea of the big picture of it all, really, when you've spent so many years, especially in my stage of life, decades of a certain behaviour, that 4 years really isn't that long a time, is it? It's not. No.
But yeah, that's true. Trying to undo decades of programming.
Yeah, definitely. But your explanation of it, the fear, is totally that as well. And and another thing I'm doing as well is just switching off all of my gadgets, my phone, because with my business all the time, I'd find myself like ramping it up again. If somebody texts me about something, I'd have to organise it straight away. And I'd be doing that. If I could hear the phone at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'd wake up and be doing this because I just didn't want to get it wrong and want to look like I was a very organised person and always there when somebody needs me. And it's just too much. And I really don't want to carry on like that anymore, and I'm not going to. This for me it's just it's shone a light on all of these things for me, and thought they're not healthy and they're not helping me, they're not making me happy, and there's another way to do it, and a way that's just going to make my life so much better. and hopefully I won't be ill again, because pretty much most of my life I've always had something or other wrong with me. And I think it's just down to all of that, really. So I think if it wasn't long COVID or a virus of some, it would have been something else. So
yeah, it's interesting. And I'm not claiming to fully understand long COVID at all. Just the people that I talk to, it sounds like what many of us have been going through for decades. It would just be a different virus or a different trigger, but something was sort of the final straw, and the body's just like, nope. And, you know, so many people we talk about the fear, and we talk about safety. You know, we say that our nervous system and our fight or flight, and it's just, you know, I don't think many of us realize how much of our life is driven by fear, because the world we live in is so radically different than the one we evolved to thrive in. So with the text messages and the news and the traffic and the internet and, you know, all day we're like, I don't think we even realize the messages. You know, if I don't respond to that text right away, I'm going to lose my job. Or if, you know, it's so much that we put on ourselves, and we normalize this state of being where we're just constantly basically in a state of fight or flight, like we're about to fight off a bear. And really, that's no way to live. Like, you're not happy in that state.
No. I mean, it's all the stimulus. And when I first started watching your channel, and then I heard about the nervous system, and then I thought, oh my gosh, that's what I've been doing for years. I've just been living this state of, you know, and at the time I used to think, oh, this is great. At least I'm somebody, I'm never like sat around doing anything. I'm so organized and very ordered with stuff. And other people were like, you know, all over the place with this and I run my own business and I do it. But it was just, until I was ill, I thought, it's not pleasant, really. It's really not. Not at all.
Oh my goodness, that resonates. You're right. I'm so proud. Almost like the more miserable I am, the better I'm doing. I'm never late. I have 97 projects on the go at any given time. You know, I haven't had a nap since 1997. It's not healthy.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that you're seeing things differently. How do you see things from here moving forward, you know, with your health, with your life?
Well, definitely a more relaxed life. Definitely. I mean, I'm only working part-time at the moment. I don't know. I mean, I think I'll probably, when I start to feel better, maybe increase my hours a little bit more. But it has been more enjoyable to just have a little bit more me time. I definitely think meditation is going to be a big part of my life now. And the yoga nidra, I just enjoy it so much. It's really made me feel so much different. So, yeah, just a more chilled out life, really. That's just where I see things moving forward in the future for me.
Yeah, and I'll link for people watching that meditation course in the video description. It's through Soma, as she mentioned. I took it as well, and it is, in my opinion, an absolute life changer. It really helped me to finally understand meditation and figure out how to make it a regular practice and have it be something enjoyable and not just another chore, and help me really understand you know, why to do it. And yeah, I think it's such a big step towards living a more balanced life, and also just kind of giving yourself that space to start to slowly chip away at all the stuff that you're carrying. It's amazing how once you just have some quiet, you start to let go of things that you might have been carrying around for decades, even without actively trying to do so. It's just something about having that quiet to just acknowledge and release things I find really powerful.
Because I've only ever tried guided meditation before, but I don't feel that I ever really meditated properly until just recently. And as you say, having that silence, not that my mind's silent all the time, but, you know, I'm having pieces of it where I am, and it's just parts of it. But, you know, it is just nice to have that 20 minutes twice a day to sit down.
And for those of you watching, I'll link, I have an excellent interview with Sam where he walks you through from Soma meditation, some of the basics of meditation, and just, really great stuff. So I encourage you to check that out. But yeah, thank you so much, Nicky. I really appreciate this. Really insightful. I learn, you know, so much from every single interview that I do. I'm sure people watching will really appreciate this, and it's very brave of you to do this. So yeah, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you to you. I really appreciate that I've found you on YouTube, because it really, really has made such a difference for me watching all of these recovery stories. So thanks to everybody as well. Thank you.
Yes, thank you to everyone who has shared their stories here. It's such a wealth of information that we're building here, and just hope. Yeah. It's
Thanks, Raelan. It's really wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yes. So big hugs to you guys who are watching. Keep at it. Keep researching. Don't give up. I believe your answers are out there. I know it can be challenging. It can be hard, and you don't have to be smiling and optimistic all of the time, but try as much as you can to not let yourself get feeling in that stuck place for too long, and keep doing what you got to do to find that hope so that you can keep going. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you got something out of it, and I hope to see you in this next one with Sam.